Hi friends, and happy February, aka the month of love. Ever since I was a little girl, I've always been extremely obsessed with Valentine's Day, so I've always looked forward to February, and as an adult, recreating that feeling of excitement and just sharing love with the people in my life has always been something that's made me look forward to February, especially since it's a month where you're like deep in the thick of winter. Let's get these Valentines and Valloween vibes going with a few of the books I've purchased lately. Books. Okay, so one of the most recent books I've purchased that has like really awesome romance vibes going for it is gonna be Lessons with the Mothman by Kathryn Moon, who is an independent author. This is gonna be a really fun one, I think, because you have the Mothman, who I think is really into this like researcher. She's investigating the cryptid species at some some type of agency. So she's doing her like whole science thing, and her focus is definitely on trying to get as much information about cryptids as possible, not falling in love, definitely not on the agenda for her. So I love that tension, that push and pull between somebody who's very much falling for the other and then the other love interest who kind of needs to get a little bit invested, and that's fun for me to read. And then I was gifted such a fun book. Have you ever read a choose your own adventure book? I never have, so I'm really hyped to get to my lady's choosing, an interactive romance novel. Shout out to my mother-in-law who gifted this to me for Christmas. I added this to my Christmas wish list this year because, for one, I've heard so many great things about these like choose your own adventure books, and the fact that it's working with a lot of like the tropes of romance. As I've gone into it a little bit more, I think this will be really fun. I'm hoping to get a few giggles out of this one. And I think it's meant to parody the romance genre, not to make fun of it, but to have fun with it if you're a romance reader. In this choosable path romance adventure, you are the plucky but penniless heroine in the center of 19th century society. The courtship season has begun and your future is at hand. And then it looks like you have like 4 options here for your love interest, which is really great since there's both men and women here. And then I think maybe there's even other options, maybe ending up with none of them. At the end of January, I went to my very first in-person book event. I don't know what took me so long to realize that these are so fun. They exist in my area. So it was really awesome to go out and physically support a first-time author. Single Player, a novel by Tara Tai, is about 2 game developers who fall in love. I think there's like this grumpy sunshine situation going on, which I find so fun. As somebody who's recently gotten into cozy gaming as a hobby, this is a really fun way to combine both my love of reading and gaming all in one. I've listened to podcast interviews and, video interviews on YouTube of authors talking about their upcoming works, but there's nothing quite like an in-person event. Like, I'm so hyped to get to this one. Tara Tai is so awesome, and it's their first novel. It's a queer enemies to lovers workplace romance debut, so I'm super hyped. I can't wait, and it's really cool because they also gave us a cute little bookmark. I love some swag. And we also got a little sticker sheet here too. I don't know if I have it in me to ever use these since they're so cute, and I have commitment issues when it comes to stickers, but they're adorable, and I can't wait to figure out how these work or like relate to the story. After the event, there was a signing, and she wrote, "Lauren, stay nerdy and read all the romances, Tara Tai. Don't mind if I do." At that same bookstore, the same night, I was walking around after the event, and what do you know? I found Blob, a love story by Maggie on the shelves, and I had to pick this one up. I mean, it was actually the first line of this story where I'm like, yeah, I think I gotta take this one home. It's May, freshly turned and drizzling when I find the Blob outside a dive bar. What a way to start a book. I'm predicting this to be one of the 2025 releases that will be a 5-star for me, or at least I'm hoping anyway. And before I move on to the games I've hauled, one little book accessory I did want to share with you. I purchased a little dust plug for the very first time. It's a conversation heart. I'll zoom in so you can see it a little bit more closely. But I recently gave my Kindle a little bit of a Valloween makeover at the start of the new year, just to refresh it a little bit. It's, old, it's been around the block a little bit, but it's still working just fine. And honestly, I have been reading from my Kindle far more this year. And I know it's only been a month, but in the past, like in comparison, I'm really making use of this. So I think maybe it has something to do with giving it a little makeover. And I am very happy to report that as I've been reading and using my Kindle, I haven't been getting too annoyed by the dust plug being right here. I know that can be in the way of your hand and just the way some people hold it, but so far so good. Moving on to the cozy games I have purchased and queued up for me to play in February. There are 3 of them, and they all contain some type of like romance vibe, and they're either like horror related or spooky adjacent in some way. The most notable game on this list is going to be the Doki Literature Club. The way people talk about this game online has me so intrigued, and just the fact that like people have been so good at not spoiling this story. I need to know, what is the horror element in this like very girly, cutesy, it's seemingly girly and cutesy story. So it's basically like a visual novel, and you have a player that you play, and they're kind of ingratiating themselves into this high school literature club. And I don't think things are as they really are on the surface. Like there's something deeper that's happening. It's supposed to be psychological horror. So who knows where this story is going to go. You can have a little bit of like a romance situation going on with your choice of character. So I think there's some options where you get to decide as the player where the story goes. Then I have another visual novel that's very much like a choose your own adventure, and that's My Raptor Boyfriend, which I've kind of started in November in honor of like the cryptid readathon, but I really want to finish it this month. It's really cute, very relaxing, and it also gets me a little bit nostalgic for high school. You play as a young high school girl who moves to a town that is a secret community for cryptids and other monsters. And the whole premise here is that you as the player get to decide who this character ends up with. There's like a raptor, right? There's a little dinosaur, there's a fae, there is a Bigfoot character. It's not a very serious game. It's very fun, playful, and relaxing. And then a game I'm really excited to play this month is Call of the Sea. I've already dabbled in it a little bit, and I really do think this is going to be my next gaming obsession. This is an adventure video game played in the first-person perspective. There is nobody coming out to like scare you, like there's no jump scares, nothing like that. So it is more like on the cozy side with like puzzles and a story and narrative. So it's like literally everything that I love. And there's this whole like romance aspect because you have a woman who goes to like the South Pacific island trying to search for her husband who was there for like another reason. And like as the story unfolds, you're kind of piecing together the puzzles, and the graphics are just gorgeous. So it's very relaxing because there's no combat, which is not my style of game that I prefer. And it does have those romance vibes where, you have this wife, being a badass and trying to go find her husband, potentially save him. And it's a little bit like darker in theme. So I think that's why it's a little bit like, spooky adjacent. Over the past few months, I have been collecting a few home and decor items that I knew would be perfect for creating a space that just brought me so much Valloween happiness. I was so shocked to have walked into Marshall's a few months back and stumbled upon this like Chucky and Tiffany wooden piece. It's been behind me the whole time, and I'm just delighted. I didn't know this existed. I didn't see any shop with me videos where people had displayed it and shown it in stores. So I was shocked to know that it even existed in the first place. And when I saw it, I'm like, this would be so perfect next to my little Chucky and Tiffany Funko Pops. They're like little mini Funkos, and I got them from Five Below last year. So I'm like, this is the perfect little display, because if you've never seen The Bride of Chucky, I need you to watch that movie this February. I don't think you really need to see all the movies before it, but it's just the perfect, in my opinion, Valloween movie. And keeping with the spooky Valentine theme, I don't know if I hauled these this past summer when I did pick them up when I was doing my Halloween decor shopping, but these pastel tombstones are so perfect for my Valentine's decor, my Springoween decor, because it is the perfect color palette for me as a spooky ghoul who also loves pastels. So these will be hanging out in my bar cart decor setup for not just February, but also into March, April, for the spring months, because it's perfect. It perfectly goes with my Easter decor too. And then we have my most prized possession. This is a fake cake. I know, shocking. It looks so real, so delicious. Can you believe they make these out of like stucco, and they put acrylic paint, mix it all together and pipe it? I'm honestly in awe. I'm shocked by what people are able to create. I had such a hard time choosing one of these little cuties on Etsy, but I'm so happy with my purchase from Buttercream Daydream on Etsy. If you open it up, it's just a little, cardboard box, put some trinkets in, some small things. But really what I wanted was just it to look cute. I don't plan on using it for anything. But really what got me intrigued is seeing these in a lot of people's Valentine's Day shop with me videos for stores like Marshall's and Home Goods. I went out a few times to my local ones, came up zero with nothing. And so I'm like, okay, I have a choice. I could either put in a lot of effort and hard work to find that ceramic heart-shaped piece, or I could save myself the time and the effort and the gas money to purchase something on Etsy, maybe a little bit more expensive, but that money to me is worth it when it's supporting an actual human creating this, their labor to do something like this. It's astounding to me. And one of these days I will attempt to make one for myself because it's a feast for the eyes, truly. It is not a Happy Haunts haul until I bust out a candle that I've purchased. I have the Sweetheart Cherry Candle from Bath & Body Works, and it smells like heaven. Oh, so good. I love it so much. It has fragrance notes of wild cherry, crushed pistachio, and whipped vanilla. I'm incredibly obsessed with cherry. It has been my scent for the past few weeks as we're starting to get into Valentine's Day mode in my world. I actually purchased a cherry perfume from Marshall's. This is Cherry Baby by It Girl Juices, and I realized Sabrina Carpenter also has a perfume that's cherry scented. I don't keep up with celebrity perfumes. I do love me some aromas, but I'm not a big perfume gal. But if it's cherry, I might have to check it out. I'm thinking maybe this is a dupe for hers. I'm basically cherry obsessed. I've also picked up a few prints from artists on Etsy that are perfectly encapsulating a lot of my eras as a reader. And because I'm not somebody who purchases a lot of books, I read a lot through Kindle Unlimited, through that subscription, or I borrow books from my library, or I listen to audiobooks. I don't have a whole lot of physical books in my home collection, and it's a bummer because I really love book covers as decoration. So prints kind of substitute for that. So I've got two really awesome ones from the Purple Top Hat creator on Etsy. This first print that I got is the Mothman who's hanging out with a friend as they're reading, and it's just so cute. I love the colors, I love the style, which it seems just super cutesy, very romantic, and it's a perfect way for me to reference my love of Mothman monster romances. And I love me some gothic leaning books that feature werewolves and human romances. So I have a print actually right behind me from the same artist that I got from Etsy, and I just think it's so gorgeous. It's kind of watercolor-esque. It's a little bit bleeding in the lines, a little watery, and I think it's very gorgeous, very dark, very romantic. The holidays are really fun for me because with these seasonal changes comes some really fun food and drink offerings at stores. Unfortunately this year though, it does feel like the big box stores are de-emphasizing Valentine's. I feel like decor and food stuff, mostly decor, I feel was briefly in the stores, and there's super small lines this year. I don't know. Let me know what you think if you feel they're totally gliding past Valentine's, which it's not the end of the world, but it is different than in years previously. And I just feel there's not a lot decor-wise that really resonated with me, which is why you don't see a whole lot of that here from big box stores. And one thing though, at Target, I could not pass up was this strawberry and cream trail mix. Sweet cream almonds, heart-shaped coated pretzels, strawberry flavored pink shimmer coated pretzel balls. This looks so delicious, and I've had it for a few weeks. It's been waiting for February to come and be here. I'm so hyped to add this into my little lunch pack. And it'd pair really, really well with my Roses Are Dead herbal tea. This has hibiscus, rose, and mint. I purchased this from Dem Bones Tea, what a name. And I've actually purchased from them before. I always get their stuff when I'm at the Winchester Mystery House. Every winter they have like a little oddities market and they seem to always be there having a booth. So this one I've been having my eyes on since last year, and I was thinking, okay, what could be a good Valloween tea? I've been needing a few. The rose just screams Valentine's to me. And then through the same company, I picked up these sugar cube skulls, which are so freaking cute. It's perfect because I don't know why it took me so long to get on board with the whole like sweetener situation for tea. For the longest time, I haven't been having any syrups added in. I haven't been doing any like honey or sugar. So I think it's time to level up, and doing so in such a spooky fashion. Well, thanks for hanging out with me, friends. I hope this video got you in the Valloween spirit. It's a really fun adventure trying to blend, Valentine's with Halloween. There's literally no rules. We can do whatever we want when it comes to enjoying any kind of holiday or season, whatever just brings us joy and reminds us that there are opportunities to connect with people and to be creative and to take care of ourselves and our own needs. Let me know down below in the comments if you have any Valentine's, Valloween movie, book, or hobby recommendations. I am all ears as always, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.